Yeah, yeah.
I
I'll
haven't
hit record
begun.
too. Let me know when you want to hit record.
I hit record.
Okay, I'm recording too.
I'm just releasing this as is.
Okay. Should we even say hi, everybody, or
Yeah,
do you think
man.
people know who?
Why
Yeah,
not?
okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Drew Sample. I'm the managing member of Capital City Gardens, DBA Cap City Greens here in Columbus, Ohio. I am an urban farmer. Um, just like John Dow, we both do microgreens. And so thanks for having me on your channel again.
Yeah, man. Well, I think we're on each other's channel eventually. But yeah,
Yeah, I'll probably put video on.
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it's on the Sample Hour podcast. I
yeah,
I I should probably put video up
yeah.
on
We'll
my
get there. Oh,
YouTube.
whatever
Yeah.
you want to do. If you want to use it, you want to use it. Anyway, that's fine. I'm John from Dowie Farm, and we are here to give you the nuts and bolts of microgreens farming and dig into some other things. We have some other. We have a couple topics today we want to talk about. One of them is we think there's a lot of wasted steps in the process of microgreens and just the managing of a farm of microgreens. And there's a lot of information out there that tells you how to start. And through experience, we've learned a lot of that stuff is irrelevant. We don't necessarily both have the same experience with that type of thing. Like I have some things that I don't do that Drew still does, and probably vice versa. I think
Yeah.
we did just come up with there were two of those. There's one for each, right? So
Yeah.
and then we also have a couple of questions to go over from last week's show that I remember now that we didn't talk about in pre-show, but now I'm bringing it up anyway.
Yeah.
Surprise. And
YouTube comments?
yeah, we had a couple,
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
had some comments over on Odyssey, odyssey.com. That's Odyssee. So like Oddie and then the word C. We are up over there. That's official. And that's
Hell
under
yeah.
the Drew and John show, just like its own thing. So that's kind of cool. And I'm going to mute. Oh, that site is muted. So I'm going to pull that up and see any questions there. I think it was a lot of the same people watched it on both sides, but that's fine. And they did mention our 8-inch drill bit, so they did watch it through.
Hell
So
yeah.
that's cool, man. Thanks for watching that. That's good stuff. So, what do you want to do? How do you want to start here? You
I
want to?
say I say you just start going
Cool.
with things because this is
Yeah, we're
uh
gonna do a quick show today. This is a me show.
yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think there's a lot of wasted time in this world. Like we started out with the greens in our house, and that's fine. And we were planting in the ways that we had learned from books and from other people's videos and things, and even podcasts. And there were some things in those steps that as we went along and we became less afraid, which I think is a factor in growing microgreens, where a lot of people you're scared to not do something a certain way because maybe you're relying on that crop for something, and maybe you have a sale coming up and you don't want to change how you're doing it, which is usually probably a good idea to not change what's working. But as you go, you kind of learn that there are things that you can not do that you maybe were told to do. And for me, that number one thing has been, let's just dive right into the meat, right? Tray washing.
Yeah.
And I take shit for it. We talked about that last week. But I haven't washed a tray in a year now. We did wash our trays during COVID shutdown, but that was just something to do because we had time. So, but I just don't do it. And I go through periods where I have trouble growing, and I go through periods where I don't have trouble growing. And usually I end up finding a reason that I'm having trouble growing when I am. And like one time I had a massive mold situation in a back room of the building that I rent that I was unaware of that was pumping through my vents. So, but the first thing I would do in that situation is go, oh my God, I'm not washing trays. Maybe it's because I'm not washing trays. And now, I always find out there's this other reason, and it's never been washing trays. So,
It could be, yeah, I think it could be. So
yeah.
I had a similar issue when we tried not washing trays when Tim and I started doing it. And we did have some mold issues, but then we washed trays, we kept having
Yeah.
issues, and then we realized we just needed a dehumidifier.
Yes. And that's always been my case where I go, oh my God, we got to wash the trays. And I would when I had somebody working here with me, I'd put them on it. I'd be like, hey man, I need to get these trays washed. I know it sucks. And this person would scrub 350 trays, and then
Yeah.
It would be for no reason, and because the problem wouldn't be solved and whatever. And I have spoken with people who know a lot more than me that tell me biofilm stays on the trays and things like that, and that freezing or extreme heat or extreme cold will kill a biofilm, or scrubbing with suds. But like I said, the anecdotal results are over all this time and all these flats that we've grown probably is that it seems like a colossal waste of time. Obviously, if I have a overgrown tray where the leaves have fallen over the side and whatever, that they're like stuck to the outside of the tray or whatever, I'll wash that. But otherwise, I've moved on. I don't do it anymore at all. What about you?
So right now we power wash trays. Tim for a while was scrubbing them in the sink.
Yep.
We were looking to. Honestly, I just messaged him because I actually, because of our last few conversations, I've been meaning to bring something up with him, but then usually I have to address something else with him. So I actually just messaged him like, "Hey, do you think maybe we should try not? Do you want to try not cleaning trays again? Especially since we have that dehumidifier."
Yeah.
So we have clean trays. I mean, that's why I initially brought Tim on, was to clean trays, because I didn't want to clean trays and Rich didn't want to clean trays. And then I cleaned them for like a whole summer with a power washer, because I was enabling behavior that I shouldn't have enabling. And and so but thankfully, that's how I found out what good of a worker Tim was. So I think it was a good decision ultimately. But I am definitely, now that Tim is, harvesting, planting, whatever I can do to cut off some. I mean, because I'd rather have him focusing on maybe, harvesting microgreen vegetables that are growing in the beds that are just from the microgreen soil. So, something that was a happy accident I found, Dowie, was I had these beautiful radishes growing perfectly in my raised beds. And I harvested them and I sold them for $6 a pound at restaurants.
Nice.
And like the radish, I think we use the same blend. I use like a Rambo Triton blend. Is that what you do?
Do you plant them together?
Yes.
Oh, I don't do that.
I didn't used to, but then I found that the seed sizes were pretty good. Actually, this is something Rich found. So we do like just a ratio.
Yeah, for me, it's the germination rates on those. It's like my Sango or Rambo, whichever, they're kind of interchangeable. The purple.
Well, the Sango is more expensive, but I just bought some purple radish seed because it's significantly cheaper from True Leaf. So I'm going to see how that goes.
You're going to be disappointed.
Really? I've used them before and I didn't have issues.
Oh, really? So I used them. I got them once and they were just like a super light purple, and I was super disappointed in them. Where my Sango right now is actually coming out wicked dark, and I'm real happy with it. I got that from, I think I got it from True Leaf too. But anyway, so I grow all those separately. I grow 4 kinds of radish though. But right now I have a wicked big Hong Vit radish growing in my front yard. I'm pretty excited about it. So
I mean they're beautiful radishes. So you get like a second. So basically, what I really like is getting paid twice from my soil and microgreen seeds. And I just started to think like, why am I not just segregating like the seeds in different raised beds? So I think that's going to be the new plan, even though everything's mixed now. But we need to just think smarter. And I need to work smarter. But right now, my market garden, as you want to say, is just overrun with food. Like I have all these food weeds. So even like all the weeds to get to stuff is just food, whether it be ground cherries, tomato plants. It's pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie. It's a pretty awing experience. It's just messy.
How much land?
It's just like permaculture.
How much land are you working with to do that?
A 15th of an acre.
That's
insane.
And
the house is on it too.
So I'm sitting here going, I can't do that. I don't have enough space. I have more space than you.
Dude, I mean, I am going to probably tear down the greenhouse and just have everything indoors just because it's consistent. And then also, Tim has a son who's going to be 2. My girlfriend has a daughter. Mm-hmm. And it would be nice to have like a play area. Yeah. Then also kids could go and learn about gardening and stuff like that. So I think like the vision is changing. And also it's a bitch to level the tables constantly. I don't know why I constantly am having to do it, but it's probably just, picking up trays, taking them off, And it's probably because Tim is harvesting in the greenhouse, which I don't really care for, but he's been doing it, and I don't think he sees that, hey, every time you do that, we have to re-level the tables or something.
Oh,
And so
okay.
it's just like, because the tables are just pallets on top of cinder block.
Oh, so you're,
Yeah.
yeah. So they're pushing it in the ground a little or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a whole thing. So,
So
but
we're
anyway,
trying to
before we
eliminate
get,
steps, and you're adding steps.
yeah, yeah. So I think there's, well, adding a step is definitely taking the trays from the germination room outside,
Yeah.
and I did add a lot of steps out of um putting the cart before the horse sort of deal. Like, well, I want to grow them outside seasonally, so then I have different products. It's just all the shit that doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Chefs
you do
don't
these
care.
things because you think you're special or you're different, but in reality, you're just making more work for yourself that
Yep.
doesn't make you any more money.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is important to eliminate that. So yeah. So we don't wash trays. It sounds like you are. Maybe you're going to try not. I'd be interested to hear the results from that.
Yeah,
Another thing folks are told to do when they begin microgreening is stacking trays however high. I've heard anywhere from 3 to 9 or 7 or these magical numbers, right? And then every day take your trays and unstack them and spray them, right? And these are also the ones that are usually covered with paper towels. Now, not only does that make no sense because the water just runs off the top of these paper towels, right? But it has turned out that that's something I haven't done in. I've been doing this 7 years. I haven't done it in 6 years. Like I did it for the first year when I just didn't know any better, and then I stopped completely. It's ridiculous. Like I plant strategically now, where I have certain crops that get a tray with a brick or 2 bricks, actually 2 little 5-pound red bricks. I have other crops that get a topper tray, which is like an arugula or a basil or something like that, and that doesn't get a cover at all except for a humidity dome. And then I have other crops that, if I want to, I can stack them higher, like if I'm out of space.
yeah,
But I generally don't. Generally, what I do is, one tray of like peas, sunflower, radish, or a salad blend type item like cabbage or broccoli, and then I go a tray of basil or arugula or sorrel or something that is a little more delicate that doesn't need any covering at all. Um, and then I dome that, and we're done, right? And I leave it, and I have been known to mist trays like that are toppers daily, but that is all just dependent on my room and the humidity in my room. So if you don't have to do that, absolutely do not do that. Like eliminate that step too. But I've been playing with not doing it at all, and I've been having decent results too. So I haven't been daily. I haven't been daily spraying anything like that that's germinating or misting. Basically, I plant it, it gets put on a germination rack or stays on my planting table, or it gets sent right to a watering tray if I have room and I turn off the pump, or and I don't touch it at all until it's ready for lights, and then it goes under lights. So what do you have going on over there as far as that goes?
so we've always stacked radish and pea, and the main reason is because I did notice when I didn't stack them that the pea would grow in these weird areas, and it
Yeah.
would take a little bit longer to germinate. Well, it'd take a little bit longer to get to the finish line. So I did notice when I stacked them, they got to the finish line faster, which that's the name of the game in microgreens. And having as much flavor and as much as you can, and getting to the finish line and getting the yields that you need. Um, so we stack radish and pea. We used to do this stuff with cilantro where we'd stack it for a few days and then, but this was the old method. I'm not sure if Tim is stacking them still or not. So we may or may not still stack cilantro. I'm not sure. He really took ownership of that. But the radish and the pea, we do it, and it's mainly to save space. And then we'll stack them. Sometimes we'll stack them 5, sometimes we'll stack them 6. It all depends on how much space we have. I mean, but ideally we would just do 4, just because it's like we can fit 4 pea on a rack, on the rack, so we can have 4 trays on each rack. So that's the only reason why there was no. Well, you do it for this, for that, and it's basically just out of um, uh,
Like space saving.
space saving, and
Yeah.
it just makes more sense to do 4 at a time because you're going to put them on the trays or
Yeah,
on the
yeah, and
shapes.
this week I stacked 2 peas and then did a top and whatever because I needed the room.
Yeah, and
If
then
you need the room, go for it. But I just
yeah, and
like,
so I do have bigger bottom trays, like the deeper ones. Um,
Yep.
that I'll put on top for like a humidity thing, but the smaller trays will work too. It all depends on the crops. I mean, if they're popping up, the smaller tray, you can probably put them underneath the light.
Yep.
Um, so every other plant, so whether it's any of the brassicas, so like arugula, except for radish, so arugula, the 4 different mustards I grow, um, broccoli or kale, they all you just you do one and then you put the bottom tray on top,
Yep.
just to germinate, and that's it. So we don't stack any of those. So I tried stacking them just for space, but those little ass seeds get stuck in it,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
they don't do as well. So
You mean you use a dome? You mean? Is that what you mean?
no, I mean like I just use a bottom tray and I stick it on top of it, but I don't stack that. I can never
Oh,
stack those
you
trays.
don't put any
So
weight on that then?
no,
Oh
no.
wow.
The only thing that's weighted is the pea and the radish.
Oh, it's interesting. Yeah. So I don't. I do
Yeah,
that.
I
Yeah.
don't. Because I had issues with just germination.
Okay.
Like I'd have germination issues, and I found that they worked better. I wish I
Yeah.
could stack them, just have more space to
Yeah.
germinate.
So I use with arugula and those mustards, right? Mustard, arugula. um, I don't put anything. I just dome, and that's it. Because I had the same problem. They would rot
Yeah,
or whatever. I
same.
so yeah. I mean, it sounds similar. You do an invert. I just invert the tray on the top. That's all we're doing differently there.
No, no, no. I do the
Right.
same thing. No, it's inverted. So I just take the bottom tray and I stick it on top like a sandwich.
So
So it
is
covers the whole.
is the bottom tray touching the seeds when you put it on
No,
top? Okay,
no.
so it's a dome, essentially.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All right, I get it. I thought you were
yeah.
saying it
So it's
wasn't.
probably the same exact thing you do. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly the same. Yeah, all right. So then that brings us to paper towels, and this is where we differ a
I
little
don't
bit.
use paper towels. I never have. I always thought it was a stupid step because you pull it back and you pull off all these seeds.
Yep, that's frustrating.
I also don't use the same ungodly amount of seed that they recommend for radish. Like
No,
you're
me
just
either.
throwing money away.
Yeah,
Like 70, they say 75 grams a tray. It's
Oh
just like
wait,
you're
let me do
throwing
some
money
math.
away.
Hang on, grams.
You probably do about an ounce a tray. That's what you're doing.
Oh
You're
wait,
probably
no,
doing about an ounce.
I use more than that then for radish.
I use a little bit more than an
Oh
ounce a
no,
tray.
75 grams says 2.6 ounces. That's nuts.
Yeah.
I use an ounce less. I use 1.6 ish. It depends on the seed. The smaller seed uses more. Is that how that works? No, less. Yeah. So if the seeds are bigger,
Yeah.
like the size of the seed, with radish, I found that it takes a little more weight to get it to where I need it, the density, and then whatever. So like
We cut it back. I think when Rich was still there, he was doing like 36 grams a tray,
Yep.
which is
1.3. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm down to, I think we're down to 30 now. So
Yeah.
it's like
So you're about an ounce.
just about an ounce a tray.
So
and I'm getting and I shoot for because like mine are hardy. I shoot for about 8 to 12 ounces
Yeah.
a tray.
That's what I get. So that's what I get out of 50 grams or
Huh.
1.7 ounces. I grow them kind of tall, but
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to do with you're growing them outside under natural light too, so you might be
Well,
getting
but then indoors
more
too.
stout.
My lights are really close to the tray.
Oh, yeah. So I go about 8 inches, 10 inches from the top of the tray. So
Okay. No, I'm way closer than that because
Oh,
my
okay.
chefs all like them like really small and dense.
you have that. Yeah. So I'm just
So mine
running,
are maybe like this big.
I'm
at
just running
mature.
into that in Boston now where the chefs are like, they're too tall. And I'm like, what? Come on,
Yeah.
I've been selling it this way for 7 years. Get over it. But now I'm doing this like these special steps because that's where like some of my bread and butter is. But my New Hampshire chefs have never given a shit about the height of my greens, and I've always
Well,
grown
it goes
pretty
it
tall,
goes in it goes in waves, man. Like sometimes they want like the mustards to be bigger, like they want the mustards to be a little bit more mature.
Yeah.
And then but the radish they want smaller, and then
Huh.
it's just different things. But the mustard I found like they'll still true leaf and get a little bit bigger. It's just you take it from like a 9-day to a like 13-day crop, and then I
Yep.
would just charge double the price, and they wouldn't care because they liked it so much.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. So I do use paper towels still on peas, sunflower, and salad blend. So like purple cabbage, broccoli, and kohlrabi, and that's it. And the reason I'm doing it is because if I don't do it, I get dry out on the edges of my tray when I stack. And
Interesting.
that's about it. Like, so what I'll get is the outside quarter of an inch or so, maybe a little bit more of seed just will not germinate, especially with stuff like peas where it's so big. It like lifts that topper tray up, right?
Do you soak your pea?
Yeah. 12.
Joseph Swain, my local mentor, does not soak any seeds.
Oh, I tried not to soak peas, and
I did too. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah,
he gets yields.
I've started going, like, I'll go with peas. I'll go anywhere between 12 and like really long, because I'll forget. And sunflower, I'll go as low as like 2 hours, and as long as like honestly like 36 hours. Like, sometimes when I'm leaving here at night, I'll just throw that shit in the sink, and then I come back the next night or whatever, and it's been a long time. Or if I'm leaving here at like 4 in the afternoon, I'll throw peas down to soak or sunflower, and I'll come back the next night at like 9 or 10 at night, and just it's fine.
So I can do that with most, like the speckled pea, but this pea tendril I got from Johnny's, because then I pretty much had to eliminate pea tendril for this reason. It was like, you couldn't soak it more than an hour.
Really? You got to order from Mums.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. Yeah. I got to order from Canada. But at this point, it's just not worth it. I'd just rather just do shoots. I just told everyone, look, it's really hard to get those tendril.
All I'm getting that's all I do is tendril, and I've got a pallet. I'm going to order seeds on a pallet for the first time.
That's what you said. I just use shoots, man. Like the shoots. The tendril lasts longer, and I think they look cooler, and most people prefer them, but the flavor's the same.
That's how I got my restaurant in Boston, was because I had tendrils, and they were sick of the produce company.
I started growing tendrils because of you.
Yeah. I love them. I'm getting a 900-pound delivery.
That's insane.
I don't even know what I'm going to do with it. Where's it going to go? Speaking of adding steps. So anyway... Yeah, so I use paper towels on those, and I actually try to reuse the paper towels on the peas because they come right off and they'll go right back on, which is nice. But on the salad and the sunflower, sometimes with the sunflower, but on the salad, it's like you said, the seeds stick to it.
Yeah,
it's a minimal loss in my opinion, so I just deal with it and I compost those. For
the radish, towels. It was just weird on the radish. The radish was like, so you're using it's way too much seed that all these manuals say like, oh, use this much seed, and then it's just like you're just throwing money away.
Yeah, I don't get that. I can't even understand how they get 2 ounces, 2.5 ounces of seeds on a tray. That's insane. Like. And then even like the brassicas, like purple cabbage is the one that I see the heaviest, and I get 0.7 ounces, which is got to be, I don't know. Hang on, I got my page open here so I can convert to the King's math. 22 grams roughly, right? So they're telling you a full ounce for broccoli and stuff, and I'm like, I can't get.
They used to say, no, man. I mean, broccoli, mustard, and arugula, I'm all about and kale, all about like 9 to 12 grams.
That's low to me.
Well, I'm not getting the best yields on those. I mean, I think when they yield well, it's about 6 ounces a tray.
So on my Oriental mustard or wasabi or whatever we're gonna call it this week, that I go 9, and with arugula I do 9 grams. Yeah. And then
what do you yield on those?
4 ounces.
Yeah, so 4 to 6 is my goal. But I could get like 6.5 with a lot of them.
Yeah, it depends on how long it grows too. You know.
Yeah, it's usually 9 days.
Yeah, my arugula damps off after 9 days. I don't know why, because
man, I've been having. Arugula used to be great for a long time, and then I'm not sure if just because seed changed, but. I was only having luck with the arugula outdoors, and at this point, we're not even growing it.
Yeah, I'm still doing 6 trays of arugula a week, and then like 6-ish trays, half wasabi and half Mizuna, and I go 0.5 or so half an ounce on Mizuna, and I go 0.3 on arugula and the Oriental mustard. That's ounces here in the United States. Anyway, so we're never gonna let that die. So. And then I go like 0.7 on broccoli ounces, so that'd be like what's that, like 20 grams or something like that.
You do 20 grams for broccoli.
Broccoli and red cabbage. Yep.
I think we do 13.
Yeah. And then
what kind of broccoli do you? What
whatever,
seed?
Whatever they have at Kitazawa.
Okay, I usually get
It's like Calabrese or it's Dikiko.
I usually get sprouting
Yep.
organic from True Leaf.
Okay.
I like the True
I've
Leaf.
used that too. I have no problem with it.
Well, usually it's whatever is least expensive
Yeah. And
because
folks,
they all kind of taste the same.
yeah, these are all 10, 20 trays.
Yeah,
Just for
yeah,
reference here.
yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I just have played with this for a long time. Like, so if I start having rot issues with my purple cabbage, I'll back it off by a tenth of an ounce. So I'll bring it down to like probably like 18 grams or something. But that's the least I go on something like cabbage or even broccoli. But kohlrabi for some reason is kind of a pain in the ass. So I go about 15 grams, half an ounce, somewhere in
Never,
there. What's up?
I've never grown
Oh,
kohlrabi.
really? That's part of my salad blend. We go purple cabbage, purple kohlrabi, and red cabbage, whatever I call it, purple, and broccoli. And then I have a ratio. I have a chart because I used to have someone working here and I wanted it right all the time. And then we started introducing color. We wanted to introduce like reds to it, right?
Yeah.
And I despise amaranth. I won't grow it. And I hate red beets because of the stupid seeds. And then we found celosia. So we started doing celosia mixed into it, but then I started having damping off with the celosia. And you ever grow celosia?
No, man.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like it's called coxcomb in the flower, and it's like those
I feel
pointy
like
red
that's
flowers.
remember you were saying you create more work for yourself?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's just me experimenting. Yeah, I have this itch like every 3 months. I'm like, oh, what's new that I can grow, and I just have to do it, or it gets too monotonous.
If the germination's too long or the crop it takes too long to the finish line, I just decided it just wasn't worth it.
Yeah, I should probably be a little bit more ruthless with some of my crops, but I do like to grow. I like to keep it fresh for the chefs, so I like to go like I'll plant like 6 trays of celosia this week, and we'll offer it, and they're like, it's just something new. They can go, oh, I'll get that, whatever. But yeah, so moving on here, we talked about stacking and rotating. We talked about washing trays, right? And we talked about
Yes.
paper towels. And then I no longer use and haven't since like the very first. So I went out to my garage and dutifully built a soil tamper when I learned how to do this, right? I took a piece of wood and I found some stupid pieces of wire that I had around my garage and I built a soil tamper and I used it the first time and I never used it again. And I still know right where it is. But that's something I found just to be 100% waste of time for me, was bothering compacting the soil, because I noticed I put the seeds on, so I put my soil in, I spread it, I spray it with the hose. That tamps it down by itself, like with the shower setting. And then I just sprinkle my seeds on it. I hit it real quick with the hose and move on, right? Depending on what it is, I'll mist if it's a delicate seed instead of just hammering it, with the shower setting. But I just don't tamp anything anymore. So that saves me a whole step in the planting process. It's already I've already added a step by blending soil myself with perlite but that saves me time down the road because I do bottom watering and I don't have to worry about the soil getting overwatered, right? So by mixing my soil, I can bottom water, but I cut out this tamping step, and then I cut out my weird daily maintenance with the spraying and the stacking and the restacking and all that bullshit. But so you still tamp though, like in that way?
Yeah, so we tamp the soil. So typically what we'll do is we'll prep the trays with soil, and then I drop them a couple times to let it kind of level on the tray. Okay. And then I thought it was a drywall knife or something like that, but it's not. It's just a tool that really you see a lot when they're smoothing stuff.
Like masonry work and stuff, right?
Yeah. Actually, it's probably like a mason tool where you're spreading the mud out.
Yep.
So we just use one of those.
Yeah.
And we just press it down. You do it like a few times. But yeah, I saw in probably the same book, you need to build this wooden thing and you press it down. And I was like, oh, who do I know that could build wooden stuff? And then it was, so then I just started using a tray.
Yep.
Like a bottom tray. And I was like, well, that works well. But then you have these little rows.
The lines. Yeah.
Yeah. Which we used to grow mustard in the rows. Like that actually worked well for a while, and then for some reason it stopped working.
Yeah. Which is always the mystery with greens. Something's working great right now, and then just like one day it's just like it doesn't work anymore.
A long time. It will work great for a long time, and then one day it just stops. It's so weird. And so we use that, and it doesn't even have like really the original handle to it, like it broke or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But so we've been using that, and then certain crops will cover with soil through like
A sifter.
like yeah, maybe the cilantro. I think that's the only one we do it
Yeah,
on.
that's so I was like
And I've always done that with the cilantro.
okay, so I never did. I was vehemently opposed to using a sifter and covering seeds with soil the entire time I've done this until recently, because it was another step, and it's just like I'm weird because sometimes certain things just irritate me more than other things, right? So the idea of like, oh, let me get a sifter and put some soil in it and start doing this to every single one of these trays like drives me nuts. So, but I broke down because someone gave me advice and I started using it on certain crops. A long time ago, Mark, French guy in Canada, big name in microgreens. I feel like kind of big. Mark
Don't know.
Lavalier or something, I think his last name is. I feel like a jerk that I can't remember his name. And he told me to cover red vein sorrel with sifted soil, and then put it under lights first, under a clear dome. So I bought clear domes, and I did it, and it worked. And it's the first time I'd successfully grown red vein sorrel, and I was pumped because I get like $10 an ounce for that here, right?
Oh yeah, I
And
could get a lot here, but
yeah,
the seeds are so expensive.
it's worth it though because you only use 0.2 ounces or whatever. So
Really?
yeah, I use wicked low.
Maybe we'll try that. People ask me for it, but I remember
Says.
it took us like 30 days to germinate it.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I've got it.
And then it didn't have the flavor.
I'm getting it out in 17 days, and
Oh,
so this way I'm just doing a tray, spray it with water, put 7-ish grams, 6 to 7 grams of seed on it, and
what do you
then
yield per
I
tray?
mist it and I throw a clear dome on the top, and then I put it under the lights immediately, and I leave it alone. I might mist it occasionally if it looks sad. I'm yielding 4 ounces to a tray,
Wow.
and
Maybe I should definitely start doing that
I got
then.
so good at it, I dropped my price to $8 an ounce. I was like, I'm too good
Wow.
at this. But then we started getting a second grow, which was even better because we'd get like another 3 ounces out of the second grow. But I don't.
Yeah, because it's a perennial.
Yeah, I don't have a time on that second grow. And then
Does
this is
does it still have that like lemony?
yeah, it tastes great. The second grow is a little darker. The green's a little darker, but the red comes out a little better almost. It's really interesting. And then what you're doing with your saved soil, where you're isolating it, I did that with red sorrel.
I haven't done that yet. I'm going to start.
Yeah, I did do that with my red sorrel, and I do have areas in my yard where there's like red sorrel growing everywhere.
I have it
So
grown everywhere because Rich just planted it normally, and it never tasted good.
that's
Like no
weird.
matter what, it tastes bitter, and I think
Huh.
it's because it's seeds from his sorrel, yeah, in Connecticut, and those things
Oh
are horrible.
no, you got to get the right stuff. I use Kitazawa for a lot of that, and if they don't have it, I use Johnny's. I did just get it from Mountain Valley, and I'm actually getting weird results. I'm getting red sorrel that doesn't have a lot of the veins, and I'm not real happy with it. But I have the chef that I'm selling it to primarily right now doesn't care, so I'm kind of like riding it out. But I bought 5 pounds of seeds like that,
Oh
so
shit!
that's gonna take like a century to get through. Anyway, so I don't soil tamp. You seem like you are. We get the same results, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I think it's mainly just so it's an even.
Yeah,
To spread the seed evenly.
yeah.
So
I just even it with my hands and I move on. But maybe
I'm not that good at that. We're
oh, okay.
whoops.
I'm wicked good at it, man. Wicked.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not good at evening soil out with my hands. Yeah.
That's fine. So another one is in the marketing world, and this is another thing that it's not like a huge time saver, but I maybe it could be, I guess, where they tell you should call chefs ahead and set up an appointment.
Have you ever been able to talk to a chef on a phone?
No, and I can tell you right now, I worked in the restaurant business. I was a kitchen manager. I wasn't a chef, and then I was a general manager. But when I was a kitchen manager or a general manager, if somebody with a marketing call made a phone call to me, it didn't matter what time of the day it was. My hostess or whoever would come to me and go, "Hey, so and so's on the phone from
Gatekeeper, man.
and
You're
I'd
gonna
be
get by gatekeeper.
Yeah, I'm in a meeting. I don't want to
Hey,
talk to that guy.
your best bet is
Yeah.
if you want to sell somewhere, go there, sit at the bar,
Yeah.
chat at the bartender, tip him well, and ask if you can meet the chef.
Yeah, that's actually a good
Boom.
way. That's a good move.
Just do that. The bartenders are usually way smarter than the serving staff,
Yep.
and according to what the chef is going to think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because servers, sir, like you work your way up to being a
And
bartender
servers annoy the chef more often in a day. The
because
frequency
they
is
don't know as
higher.
much because they're usually newer.
Yes. And
And it's
they're in their face more because the bartender
yeah,
has people bringing the food out more often, and the server is way more, and they deal with more people ordering food, so they're just a higher annoyance level.
yeah, yeah. So that is what I would do. Another thing you could do, another pro tip, find the service industry bar around the restaurant
Yeah.
because restaurant people like to go out because it's a fucking high stress job.
Yep.
They like to go out and they like to cut loose. They like to get fucked up.
Yep. When you work at a party, you have to party harder to have a party.
That's right. So go to the service spot, hang out,
Yep.
have some drinks, find the people wearing kitchen
Yep.
clothes, talk to them, buy them drinks,
I've got accounts that way. It's usually the bar that's open the latest, by the way.
and the cheapest.
Yes. They have PBR on draft for $1.50.
Or they have service industry discounts.
Yeah, the 10 or like half price whatever drinks for industry night or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, look for industry night. That's what they call
Yeah,
it.
I mean that's like I hear all these steps with like, oh, that's why you should get sales. It's like clearly
Yeah.
you fucking suck at sales and
Yeah.
you're trying to sell a course because that will not work.
I mean, my number one way that I've gotten all my accounts for the not all, but like 90%
Word of mouth.
is I just show up. And,
Showing up
well,
works too.
I've gotten a lot word of mouth too, but
Yeah, but like getting to know, okay, who are your friends?
Yeah.
Because they all it's always a small industry, man.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
they know
always
each
I mean,
other.
like everybody fucking knows everybody.
Yep.
So
My
you know,
thing with Boston was going 45, 50 minutes an hour away. I'm not going to go down there and hang out in a bar anymore.
no,
And
no. Yeah, I don't know how you yeah, so that actually you speak on that
I
because
just showed up. I just did what I did up here in the beginning. When I started up here, I just started showing up to restaurants and walking in. And you got to have the right hours, first of all, the right days. Don't show up on a Friday at 4 because you're an idiot. Then come
Yeah.
in at
come in on like a Tuesday.
2 o'clock on a Tuesday. Be nice to the hostess and the wait staff that you come in contact with and smile at them. Don't be an asshole.
Be nice and smile at everybody,
Yeah,
goddamn.
right.
Like
Be
what,
the
I don't
guy
understand.
Yeah, show up in
Like,
the room and be the fucking
you're
center.
not doing them favors.
Yeah. Yeah.
By showing up.
Yeah.
You're not. Like you will eventually
Yeah.
if they understand that you can save them money and provide them
Yeah.
lower their food costs and provide them a better product for sure, but they don't like a lot of people don't want to do work. Like I didn't get a pretty big customer because the chef didn't he was like, "Oh, yeah, it's going to save us money and it's a superior product what we're getting, but I don't want to bring on any new vendors right now." It's
Ugh.
like how?
It's a lazy
You
chef.
text me, man. Send me
Yeah.
a text. I'll text you.
Yeah, lazy chef.
Yeah.
That's too bad. Yeah, I've had that. I lost an account a couple months ago because I got the text that said it's just easier for us to order from the produce company. So I texted his boss and said, "Hey, when you fire your lazy chef, let me know and I'll start selling to you again." But it was probably the wrong thing to say, but whatever. Fucking A. Like, you know what? Sometimes you got to say it, right?
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
I probably burn a bridge there, but maybe not though, because I talked to that guy a lot, and I think we're on the same page. So who knows? So yeah, so call ahead, don't call ahead. Sorry, just show up or go out and meet people, or the word of mouth thing. Mention to your chefs when you're delivering. Hey, we're
Let
looking
'em
for new
know.
restaurants. Do you know anybody looking? Or, you can plant that seed with your chefs. A lot of times you can go like, hey, where else do you think I should go? Do you know any restaurants
Yeah.
around here? Like I do that a lot. And they'll tell you what other restaurants are just right around there that you can go to. And then you go, oh, do you know anybody over there? And they're, yes or no, right? It goes from there.
Yeah.
And you could definitely figure it out that way. And then you could even just go, do you mind if I tell them that you sent me over here? You don't need that guy to call the restaurant for you. Don't ask him to do your job.
No, no, because all they need to know is that you know somebody and that you're a trusted you're a trusted person.
Exactly.
Like you're an established person. You can be relied on. That's it.
Yeah.
I came highly recommended from this person.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all I got. Do you have any more time savers, skipping info?
Hire a good employee that will work for cheap and work hard. And then you could just focus on building your business.
It's like almost impossible right now.
It's really hard. I'm glad that I got mine.
I texted
And
my...
I had to adopt him. He's kind of my son.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
I love him anyway. And he teaches me as much as I teach him, I hope.
Sorry, I had to check something. I texted my old employee today and just was like, we're inundated with harvest, and stuff is just ready on weird days because I haven't. I'm planting so much I can't do it all in one day, so I have to, which is the worst. Like when you can't time your crops to be ready on the same day, it just adds to more work. Which I guess maybe is a step that you should do to save time. Right? Is try to plan your crops appropriately. But
Yeah.
I just can't right now because like it's just the way it is, and I'm like, oh my god, I could just use someone to come here for a day at any time. I don't give a shit. We have a key box with a code. Like show up at 3:30 in the morning, put some music on, and harvest for like 4 hours for me, and just like cut stuff and put it in the fridge. But I haven't got a reply, so I'm assuming it's like a no.
Dude, I would. How much would you pay me?
You gonna drive out from Ohio?
Oh shit, you're right.
So on to, I guess, are you good there? I want to move on to some of these questions. I have a couple.
Yeah. Let's answer these questions.
Well, this one on Odyssey, all I got was Mr. Roy Ramey. I know him from a survival podcast get together. He's a great guy down in West Virginia. He watched us on Odyssey, and he commented on YouTube, and he wants to hear more about my quail. So this is just me, but I could just breeze over this quickly, I guess. I tried to go with fermented feed for my quail recently, which is just basically you take your feed and you put it in a bucket and you add some water to it and you let it ferment for like 24 hours, right? And there's not too much to it. It's a lacto fermentation. And I definitely use less feed without a doubt. Okay. However,
that was actually on the agenda for last week for you to discuss.
Yeah. And I got I brought it up and then we moved on, I think. I definitely got better feed consumption or lowered feed consumption, but I got no eggs the whole time. So I thought it might be a fluke because I didn't have a light in there. I'd moved my quail operation to the other side of the farm, right? And I didn't run a cord over there for the light. And quail are very particular about how you have to set them up so they'll lay eggs. Basically, they want clean water all the time, and they want like some nutrient stuff in the water, and they want 28% protein feed or better, and they want light for like 18 hours a day or something. And so I'm like, maybe it's the light. So I fired the light up and I had everything going with the fermented feed, and I just got no eggs. I got like 2 a day, and there's like 80 quail in there. So I stopped late last week and we switched to dry feed again, and I'm getting 40 eggs a day now. So fail.
Did they have a light?
Total fail. Yeah, they had light that at the end of the ferment feed though too. So I think it was just that they're not, because they're consuming less quantity with the ferment. They're supposed to consume less feed, and they're supposed to digest it better and get more nutrient out of it. That's the whole idea, right? And I don't have the time, speaking of eliminating steps, to go out and give my quail feed twice a day because they're getting, less quantity because it's wet and expanded now, right? And they're going through it faster because whatever. They just don't seem to really be getting the nutrition out of it that you would think they would get, from it being fermented, basically. So I think they just were eating a little less quantity, but they weren't getting enough nutrition to really put eggs out. That's just my assumption. I haven't drawn blood or put them under a microscope, so I don't really know.
It's not that, especially since you're gonna, what do you kill them after 6 weeks?
I don't kill them really. I just let them. All my birds, man, they become a time and money suck and just die on the farm. I'm terrible. I slaughter extra males, but I don't.
I talked to.
I don't kill layers. I never do.
I talked to Moj last night. He said he just he harvested all of his quail.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Nice. A lot of people do. A lot of people go like, I have a layer flock. They start laying in 6 to 8 weeks. Then I keep them for like 6 months or 4 months or something, and then I process all of them and start over. I just don't. I don't know, man. I don't like doing that. I just don't like doing it. It doesn't sit well with me. I'm not judging anybody else. It's just not my thing. So,
yeah, man.
So
your involvement's based on what you want and you're willing to do.
I hate taking mails to the guy that does the processing for me on the day. It's just like bothered. I'm like, oh, I have to kill. These things are going to go die. Like, it annoys me, right? And then I eat them and they're delicious. But so that's what happened with my quail feed fermentation experiment. And then the other part of this is I realized it's October 6th right now in New Hampshire. And in like a month, I won't be able to feed fermented feed anyway, because I would just be feeding feed bricks to my quail. because it's going to freeze. So I was like, well, this isn't going to work all year for me anyway, unless I buy like heated feeders, which I'm not going to do.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that was Roy's question, and I think I covered that okay there. And then Jake Robinson, who always has a question. You don't know Jake. I know Jake.
Shout out to Jake.
Jake's a good guy. He's a great guy. I've become good friends with Jake through the same channels at the Survival Podcast World, and Jake goes to Jack Spirko's events and asks nonstop questions, and then we limit him to 3 at some point. But Jake asked one question today, and he asked about you raising a cow, and it looks like maybe you.
I tried answering on YouTube.
Yeah, I saw that you did answer. But for the sake of the show here, he asked if you have a farm, a pasture, and fencing, etc. And I know why Jake asked this question because he's getting into that world. So
I don't. My friend does, and I just lease land from him. I did help him. I did bring people to help him build fencing, though.
Cool.
So I am, I told him I would, and we did. I still have a cow on the pasture, a steer.
Yeah.
And that's it. I need to take him in to get processed. So no, I leased the land, and I paid the farmer to manage my cow. So
did you lease a piece of his land, or did you lease all of the land?
No, what I did was I said, how much would it cost for you to raise this animal for me? Okay. And he gave me a number per month, and I did that. And then we got to 6 months, and he said, hey, I kind of need animals on here. He had some cows escape, and they got hit by cars and shit.
God.
Pay a fine. It wasn't good.
Holy shit.
And so he needed cows on his pasture anyway. So at that point, I was doing him a favor.
Yeah.
So so that is it. I still need to get together with some strategies when it comes to how I'm going to process meat.
Yeah.
I think certain spots I'm going to take and just take whole cows and just do ground. I don't know. I'm actually going to talk to Nick Hazelton probably about that tomorrow on the podcast. So he's a yak farmer out of Oregon.
Nice. Yak.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yakking with Nick. He used to have a show called Yakking with Nick.
I've heard that name. I don't think I've.
Yeah, he's had Jack on his show before.
Okay.
He dropped out of high school to be a yak farmer, and his dad was his principal.
Nice.
So he talked his dad into it. Yeah, he's a smart kid. He just came out here for the Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival, and we went and hung out. We checked out. We went to Greg Burns' spot. We went to my buddy Sean Brown's spot.
Nice. I know Greg. He's a great guy. He came to my house once and drank mead with me.
Greg is a great guy. Greg is he's very opinionated, and people will love him and hate him for it.
Yep.
And I love him. I think what he does is awesome. He's got 7 kids. Now he's all into bees. I think when he does something, he goes full 100%, and he is open about his mistakes. He's open about successes. I think Greg is, and he'll say this is from my context too. He's not going to say this is how it's always going to be.
Yeah.
But he will tell you from his context what it is. So shout out to Greg Burns.
Yeah, and I think we both.
Sean Brown's great too. Sean Brown, he does grass-fed beef, pastured pork. They were one of the first organic pastures in Ohio through OFA. Sean is. They had the first organic grocery store in Zanesville, and then finally Walmart and all these other places had organic, so they lost all their customers because nobody in Zanesville has money.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just want to shout out my people.
No, that's cool, man.
That's the old Ohio GSD crew.
Yeah, man. I think I met Greg before he was like traveling and selling flooring or something. Does that sound right? And,
no, he still has his flooring stuff too that he does. So that's like a trade.
It's his business, right? I believe.
Yeah. He's got his own business. His dad has a similar business. Sometimes they do jobs. The whole Burns clan's great. Though.
Yeah.
But Greg,
he went back
to
his.
You knew Greg before I did.
Oh, okay. He went back to his property. He was like, "Yeah, I got these plans. I just want to see what you were doing, and I'm trying to visit all the people I can when I travel." And I was like, "Okay, cool, man." And we just like drank some meat and shot the shit. And then I see him on social media like raising a barn or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh my god, this guy's awesome!"
Yeah. No, he used to that was how the GSD crew started. Like some homesteader like her husband died and they
Yeah.
needed fencing. So like him and a few other guys went out there and just put up a fence for her.
Yeah.
And then we just started doing it and just helping each other out. And then it just became like, then we all got busy, man. It was it was just one of those things. Like it was great for about a year.
Yeah.
And we did like we would help each other out. And we would do stuff, and then it just kind of fizzled out. And I think a lot of it was because like we just kind of got, a lot of us were trying to figure out what we wanted to do, and then we figured out what we wanted to do, and we just started going after it.
Yeah, that's cool. I've never been able to. It's funny. I've never had the time to manage that or like organize what you just said.
Dude, there's no time now. I don't have time for that shit. No.
If I did find the time to organize that, I would not only probably benefit by having people come over to my farm and help me fix shit, but I would also learn from other people's. Like, it's almost like you don't have the time to do it, but you don't not have the time to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I have knives. Like if I had one of my friends from the GSD crew say, "Hey, I need help working up a pig. I need help butchering chickens or anything," I would do it. I'd say, "Okay, what day?" Yeah, I'll come.
Yeah.
So it's fun to do, and I think people need to have that relationship with their food.
Yeah, I think so too. It's good stuff. I try to buy locally. I'm going to buy local raised chicken livers tomorrow to feed to the baby.
Interesting.
Yeah, man. The kid's a monster. Anyway, I think we're at 50 minutes, man, and we talked about doing a half-hour show. So
yeah, but that was way better than last time. I felt like it was more focused. So we're getting better at this.
Yeah, man. If you guys have questions, what do we want the keyword to be today, Drew?
Chicken liver.
Chicken liver.
Chicken liver for babies.
Chicken liver for babies. So
yeah. You listen to this all the way, put in the comments chicken liver for babies.
Yeah, and then ask a question if you have a question, or if you have a topic suggestion or something you just want to know about. If you have a question about the show we just did or a question about just what we do in general, go ahead and fire that down into there. You can also reach me at questions@dowiefarm.com. That's a thing. I forgot about that. I'm also on Unloose the Goose most Wednesdays, live streaming on YouTube still. We haven't been banned yet. And then probably at some point...
You tried really hard today, though.
I did. Not really try. I just realized halfway through a sentence, I was like, oh, my God, I think we just got us banned. Or I just got us banned. And then we are also on Odyssey with that show, just as we are here. And if you're in the New England area, reach out to me if you want to buy something or just if you have any questions.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm... Check out my podcast, samplehour.com, my website. I actually just got some photos done, so I should be a lot closer to getting that up and running for consumers. I still need to redo some beef counts and then just get some other ducks in a row. But if you guys have questions for me, if you do, I mean, I'm actually pretty good at responding to on YouTube, but also just hit me up. It's at Capital City Gardens Capital City Gardens at gmail.com. You could also hit me up, the sample hour at gmail.com. I need to become an adult and have an email at my own domain like John does.
Yeah. That was like the first thing I did because I thought I had to. I was like,
it's professional.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it works. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And I don't know if Drew and I might shoot the shit after we finish up here. And Drew's cat is going to talk as well. And if you want to see that, you can also find Drew over at Patreon right now. And I think we're going to start throwing up the after and before chats over there. But
that's a good idea.
Yeah, keep an eye out for that. All right.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Thanks for watching.